Women's Army Corps, also known as WACs, were one of the many all-female organizations during World War II. WACs weren't really part of the battles that men had to face, but they were always serving alongside it, instead of being useless and doing nothing. They would supply materials for the war. If you wanted to become a WAC, you would have to have a high intelligence and decent upper and lower body strength. The women in the Army Corps organization were worked and trained just like any other male recruit in the Army, but sadly they were given the second-hand jobs such as working as mechanics, repairing broken weapons, or making clothes. The basic training consisted of 23 courses taking up to 176 hours. They learned about Army organization, map reading, safeguarding military information, mess management, military customs, and property responsibility. When finishing their basic training, they would have to take an aptitude test to determine what role they would be best useful for.
WASP, also known as the Women's Air Force Service Pilots Organization, was run by Jacqueline Cochran. The goal of the WASP program was to train thousands of women to fly for the Army. They wanted a separate women's organization and believed militarism would follow. WASP were trained to fly military aircraft so that male pilots could be released for combat overseas. They were trained at the many Army air bases across America. To prove that women were successfully fly military aircrafts, they put their lives on the line by being test subjects in experimental flight programs. With the second guessing on whether women would get the job properly done came zero recognition they would receive. The women wouldn't care as long as they got the chance to make an influence on the war.
For me to fix up, ma'am.
On November 1942, the United States Coast Guard created its Women's Reserve known as SPAR. July 30th, 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed a bill authorizing the Navy, Marines, and other military services to accept women. Women were very excited and had high intuition was commonly seen in women in the war because they weren't sitting there being the useless housewives anymore. The term SPAR came from the first four letters of the Coastal Guard's motto, Semper Asperatus, always ready. All SPARs were trained like male naval soldiers, and yet they weren't always left to the shoreline and never got to experience the sea combat life. SPARs would take an oath and they would attend the training at no matter what the stakes were to be a female naval Coast Guard.